I'm sure some of you guys think I am sharing this clip to make fun of Angel Reese and her inability to play basketball. Maybe you think this is going to be another video where we are mesmerized by Angel Reese attempting a behind-the-back pass, which somehow hits the backboard. But believe it or not, the pretend basketball is not the focal point of that clip. The real focal point, the real story, is the hundreds of empty seats at the local YMCA in Atlanta last night.
Angel Reese has somehow turned this season into a story almost nobody saw coming. Just when it seems like the basketball world has finally figured her out, she does something that sends everyone back to the conversation. Whether it's the drama, the statistics, the confidence, or those moments that become headlines before the final buzzer even sounds, Angel Reese has been nearly impossible to ignore. But that raises a bigger question: what is actually happening with Angel Reese this season? And why does it feel like we're watching a completely different version of her?
These disaster class layups and three-point shot attempts. Just stop shooting threes. Just stop shooting threes. I don't know what you're doing. Now, I will say before I start this, Angel Reese has been playing better lately. You've been playing well. Not knocking you, but hey, man, this blooper reel is crazy. It's crazy. We got to get into it. Nobody's showing up to these Angel Reese games in Atlanta. I could spot a nickel on the
floor. Right now, there's a clip circulating across social media showing Angel Reese attempting a no-look pass that ends up finding nothing but the hardwood. And if you clicked on this expecting another video designed to focus on one of her turnovers, that's not what this story is about.
Angel Reese, folks, it must have been costume night yesterday in the ATL, because there was a sold-out arena, and about 60% of the people in attendance decided to dress up as empty seats. Angel Reese played in front of about 1,200 people. 1,200 people! Angel Reese is taking the WNBA back to the Stone Age by herself.
Because the most interesting part of that footage actually has very little to do with the pass itself. What really stands out is everything happening around the court. If you pause the video and stop watching the players for a second, then look toward the stands instead of the scoreboard, you start noticing something the viral clip doesn't exactly emphasize.
So it's give me freedom, give me fire, give me 20 points on 13 shots or I retire type game for Paige Beckers. But we may have seen the worst performance by a player I've ever seen today in Angel Reese. Like, this was real bad. I'm watching this game and I'm like, there's no way. There's just no way. And as the game kept going on, she just kept throwing the ball near the basket.
There are rows and rows of empty seats sitting in plain sight. And this isn't some massive arena where a few empty sections would barely matter. We're talking about Gateway Center Arena in College Park, Georgia, the home of the Atlanta Dream. The venue holds roughly 3,500 fans for basketball, making it the smallest arena in the WNBA. In fact, it's smaller than many high school basketball gyms across the country.
At this point, I am starting to think that Angel Reese being in the WNBA is like a safety concern for her. Because I'm not sure why everybody got this pent-up aggression against her, but it's actually disgusting to watch. If you're unaware, Angel was playing in a game the other day, and one of the coaches called her a, quote, protected species. In the context of the game, a foul was made on a player that did something to Angel, and the coach was like, oh, she's a protected species because they're saying every time she plays, y'all call fouls on her.
When the Dream hosted the Phoenix Mercury this past week, a noticeable portion of those 3,500 seats remained empty from the opening tip all the way to the final buzzer. Under normal circumstances, that would probably be nothing more than a forgettable detail from a regular season game. But there's one reason those empty seats suddenly became much more interesting. Throughout much of this season, the league and the franchise have promoted the idea that Angel Reese is a major draw and that Atlanta has experienced a surge in demand. That claim has some legitimate foundation. Earlier in the spring, Atlanta announced that its season ticket memberships had completely sold out, which was a major accomplishment for a franchise that had spent years playing in front of relatively small crowds. But when television cameras sweep across an arena that has supposedly been sold out and reveal hundreds of empty blue seats, it naturally raises an uncomfortable question. If Angel Reese is truly the main reason people are coming to watch women's basketball, why doesn't the building look full when there isn't a major event surrounding her?
I'm here to talk to you about what I consider to be the greatest choke that I've ever seen in all of my years of watching and participating in sport.
The timing makes that question even more interesting because just 2 nights earlier, the Dream had experienced a completely different atmosphere. On August 3rd, Atlanta hosted the defending champion Las Vegas Aces at State Farm Arena, the much larger downtown venue normally occupied by the Hawks. More than 17,000 fans were reportedly in attendance. That is an enormous crowd for a regular season WNBA game, especially considering Atlanta eventually lost by more than 20 points. But what brought those thousands of fans through the doors wasn't simply the basketball. It was the event surrounding it. The night was promoted as Barbie Dream Night, celebrating the release of an Angel Reese-themed Barbie doll that Mattel had unveiled weeks earlier during All-Star Weekend. Atlanta turned the occasion into a full-blown spectacle. There was a glitter bar on the concourse, the arena was transformed with pink lighting, and fans showed up wearing tutus, magenta jerseys, glittery boots, and everything else that matched the Barbie theme.
To the WNBA, Angel Reese has done it again! She's completely sold out another home game in Atlanta! This woman is amazing! Sellout? You expect me to believe that game was sold out?
The broadcast cameras seemed almost as interested in the fans holding their Barbie dolls as they were in what was happening on the court. And by the time the final buzzer sounded after Atlanta's 22-point defeat, you could argue that the doll had enjoyed a better night than the team itself. From a marketing perspective, the event was clearly a major success. There is absolutely a case to be made that turning an Angel Reese-branded doll into the centerpiece of a packed NBA-sized arena is impressive business. But using that crowd as proof that Angel Reese alone is carrying the WNBA becomes a much more complicated argument. The same cameras that showed more than 17,000 people dressed in pink for Barbie Dream Night also captured a much thinner crowd just 48 hours later, after the special event, the glitter bar, and the defending champions were gone. This time, it was simply the Dream playing a normal regular season game in their actual home arena. And this isn't necessarily a criticism of Reese. She has spent years building a unique form of celebrity that extends beyond basketball, involving fashion, merchandise, personality, and major cultural moments. There is nothing wrong with an athlete understanding how powerful her personal brand can be.
Yesterday was bad on all fronts for the Atlanta Dream and the Phoenix Mercury. Bad on the nobody showed up front, and bad on the Angel Reese having an absolute disaster game. Good grief. You talk about brick Barbie.
The broadcast cameras seemed almost as interested in the fans holding their Barbie dolls as they were in what was happening on the court. And by the time the final buzzer sounded after Atlanta's 22-point defeat, you could argue that the doll had enjoyed a better night than the team itself. From a marketing perspective, the event was clearly a major success. There is absolutely a case to be made that turning an Angel Reese-branded doll into the centerpiece of a packed NBA-sized arena is impressive business. But using that crowd as proof that Angel Reese alone is carrying the WNBA becomes a much more complicated argument. The same cameras that showed more than 17,000 people dressed in pink for Barbie Dream Night also captured a much thinner crowd just 48 hours later, after the special event, the glitter bar, and the defending champions were gone. This time, it was simply the Dream playing a normal regular season game in their actual home arena. And this isn't necessarily a criticism of Reese. She has spent years building a unique form of celebrity that extends beyond basketball, involving fashion, merchandise, personality, and major cultural moments. There is nothing wrong with an athlete understanding how powerful her personal brand can be.
To talk to one person who actually knows the game of basketball, who actually has credibility in the game of basketball, argue to me that Angel Reese just sucks at basketball, just doesn't belong. Some of you like try to say, and again, most of you are just trying to be mean-spirited. Some of you are out there saying like she has JV high school level basketball IQ. I am always going to counter with, what is your basketball IQ?
The controversy begins when that brand becomes part of a much bigger argument, one Reese herself has helped bring into the spotlight, who actually deserves to be called the face of the WNBA. Reese has publicly suggested more than once that she belongs in that conversation, and this summer gave her two very different reasons to make that case. The first was the Barbie collaboration, which represented the payoff from years of building an identity that extends far beyond the basketball court. The second was much more complicated. When the All-Star reserves were announced, Reese was the only Atlanta Dream player selected, but she wasn't chosen as a starter despite having a strong statistical argument. That decision only added fuel to an already heated debate. The conversation has continued long after All-Star Weekend, especially whenever fans compare the numbers instead of focusing on highlights and popularity. And to be fair, the case for Reese is very real. She is a two-time All-Star and has led the entire WNBA in rebounding in every season of her career, something remarkably few players in league history have accomplished even once. But there is also a clear counterargument. Her shooting efficiency remains below that of many starting forwards, her turnover numbers became a major concern during the early part of this season, and her half-court offensive game is still developing. Even many of her supporters acknowledge that there are significant areas of her game that still need to improve.
Reese, come on, man. Come on, man. Take a look at this. Here we go. Uh-oh. This ain't Julia Tetzer bringing it up. Just throwing it up, missing it. All right. You threw the first one up and missed it. How about great effort by you to get the rebound? Can you kick it out now? Okay, let's throw it up. Boink, miss. Throw it out. Kick it out. You just keep throwing it up there, Angel. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Depending on which side of the conversation you land on, Angel Reese is either one of the most productive young stars basketball has seen in years or a marketing sensation whose impact on the court gets exaggerated by people who never sit through an entire game. The uncomfortable part is that both sides can point to legitimate numbers. They simply choose to focus on different ones. And that debate over whether Reese is truly one of the league's biggest attractions or simply its biggest storyline goes all the way back to the trade that sent her to Atlanta. At one point, Reese made it clear that she could consider a change if Chicago failed to turn things around. The Sky, already trapped in a season filled with losses and constant drama, eventually appeared willing to move her in exchange for future draft assets. From Chicago's perspective, the decision was understandable. It offered the franchise a chance to move away from a difficult situation while collecting pieces for a rebuild that desperately needed a fresh start.
That's an open layup. Again, I don't really know what she's trying to do here in these scenarios. That's a really good take. But obviously got swatted. And again, at least that generated points. That's not the worst play in the world. But the second half was horrendous. It was horrendous. She's just going right into Shakira Austin, who's swatting the shit out of her. She got swatted by Sonia Citron at one stage. She is getting swatted by players 3, 4, 5 inches small.
Reese has also embraced the redemption angle herself. She has described this as the freest she has felt in 3 years and has repeatedly credited Atlanta's locker room culture with helping remove some of the pressure she felt in Chicago. When a player is producing at an all-star level while helping her new team fight for a playoff spot, it becomes difficult to dismiss that transformation. At the same time, an honest evaluation of the trade has to acknowledge both sides. The rocky beginning matters, but so does the recent surge. Neither part of the story completely erases the other. Maybe the real answer is that this was never simply a historic disaster or proof that Reese suddenly became a lesser player than the rookie who once dominated the league on the glass. Perhaps the bigger issue is the WNBA's growing dependence on the idea that attention automatically equals value. And Angel Reese may be the clearest example of what happens when those two things do not perfectly line up.
This is one thing you like to see.
Post here, some work in the gym. Nobody's pretending it didn't happen. We all know exactly why they lost. And so does she. My uncle just texted me to say she's still in the gym shooting and he can't go home till everybody's out. It's just him, her, and her bodyguards. She knows we all know, and the aces better know it. So they asked his coach, did we see them in the playoffs again? And this is the best thing that you want to see from a player in this scenario.